They thought you'd fade in silence. But now, your absence speaks louder than your presence ever did. Never let the future disturb you. You will meet it, if you have to, with the same weapons of reason which today arm you against the present. Marcus Aurelius, the same fire that once burned you, now forges the man they never believed could exist. And here's the truth. People never beg for what's easy. No. They beg for what they once took for granted and lost. When you walk away not with anger, but with calm, everything changes. You become the lighthouse in their storm. The light they thought would stay dim is now blinding, and it no longer shines for them. They didn't leave because you weren't enough. They left because they thought you wouldn't become more. And maybe they were right back then. But now the game has changed. You don't chase. You don't explain. You don't beg. Evolve. Don't explain your philosophy. Embody it. Epictetus. Your silence becomes their confusion. Growth becomes their regret. They scroll through your life late at night, not out of love, but out of doubt. Doubt that they made the right choice. Doubt that they can replace what they abandoned. People don't come back for explanations. They return when they feel the void left behind by your evolution. You don't seek revenge, you resurrect. Rise like thunder in silence. You move like a king who finally realizes you were never lacking. You were simply distracted. Say it now. I choose my power. Let the world see that your value is no longer up for negotiation. You're no longer available for free. Stay with me, because in the next part, we'll go even deeper. This is where their regret is born, where you begin your rise. They thought you'd wait forever, you'd stay frozen in the spot they left you. But your silence, it speaks volumes now. Sometimes even to live is an act of courage. Seneca, the most haunting sound isn't a scream, it's the silence after someone stops chasing. You stop texting, stop explaining, stop hoping. They feel it deeper than your words ever could. That's when the shift begins. They assumed you'd always be there, emotionally open, quietly available. And maybe for a moment you were. You stared at the phone. You replayed memories. You let fear whisper lies that they've moved on, that you've been forgotten. But fear is just noise, and noise fades. You don't win them back by begging. You don't reignite love with apologies. You rise for yourself. They thought they could walk away and still feel your warmth, but you stopped burning for them, and now the cold is setting in. That's the moment they remember what they lost. First say to yourself what you would be, and then do what you have to do. Epictetus, letting go doesn't mean you stop caring. It means you stop suffering. You stop letting someone control your peace from a distance. They expect you to stay stuck like everyone else. But when you don't, when you choose growth over longing, confusion turns into curiosity. Curiosity into regret. This isn't about making them chase. It's about protecting your energy, not revenge, clarity. You don't post cryptic messages or play games. You simply disappear, quietly, fully. Because real strength doesn't need to be loud. Say this now. I protect my peace. Your energy is no longer free. It's earned. That right now they're starting to understand what they lost the moment you chose yourself. Heal so deeply that your silence becomes unforgettable. That's where the real shift begins, not when you disappear, but when you transform. It is not that we have a short time to live, but that we waste a lot of it. Seneca, they expected. You too fall apart. Instead, you rebuilt. Quietly, powerfully. While they searched for distraction, you chose discipline. While they looked for attention, you chose elevation. Real healing isn't seen. It's felt in the way you no longer react, no longer reach, no longer need to be noticed. It's not a post. It's not a gym selfie. It's the man who wakes up with purpose and no longer checks who's watching. They start to wonder, is he really over me? Who is he now? But you're not performing. You're evolving. That's the difference. They lost access to the version of you who begged. Now you're building someone even you hadn't met yet. Brick by brick, scar by scar. You're becoming the kind of man who doesn't need closure, because he became the closure. Don't demand that things happen as you wish, but wish that they happen as they do, and you will go on well. Epictetus, you miss them? Maybe, but you miss peace more. Miss your focus, your freedom. You're tired of shrinking to keep someone else comfortable, so you expand. Say this now. I heal for me. This isn't about proving them wrong. It's about proving you were always right to choose yourself, quietly, boldly, completely. The best revenge isn't loud. It's not bitter. It's a life so rich in purpose they no longer know where they'd fit in. Reject your sense of injury, and the injury itself disappears. Marcus Aurelius, you don't need to show off. You don't need to post for attention. You just need to build, quietly, intentionally. You stop watching them. Stop wondering. Stop hoping they see your progress. You build not because you're angry, but because you're clear. This is where most men fail. They pause their lives, waiting for answers, waiting to be seen. What they don't realize is every second spent looking back costs them the future they deserve. You want them to feel your absence? Then stop existing in the version of the story they left you in. Create a life they were never patient enough to witness. When they hear your name again, it's not through a message or a memory. It's through whispers they can't ignore. You don't chase status. You become it. Man conquers the world by conquering himself. Zeno of Citium. Now you wake up earlier. You move with purpose. You mastered the discipline that once escaped you. Not for them, for you, for peace, for power. You don't beg for a seat at someone else's table anymore. You build your own. One that doesn't keep space for people who walked away. Say it. Now I build for me, because this isn't about making them regret. It's about making yourself proud. Your silence isn't weakness. It's presence without noise, power without effort, the kind they never saw coming. Better to be silent than to speak foolishly. Epictetus, they expected drama. They expected begging. They thought you'd post, plead, or try to prove your worth. But you didn't. You vanished. Calmly, and that's what haunts them. You were once the constant, the message, the like, the warmth. And now, nothing. The sun doesn't announce when it stops shining, it just sets. And suddenly, everything grows cold. That's the power of emotional absence. It's not a performance. It's not punishment. It's peace. People don't chase what's always there. They chase what disappears and takes their comfort with it. When you detach, not just physically, but emotionally, it sends a message louder than any text. You've reclaimed your worth. They scroll, they wonder, they replay old moments. Not because you said anything, but because your silence now fills the room. You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength. Marcus Aurelius and yes, it's hard. Silence feels heavy at first. But over time, that silence becomes your fortress. It protects your energy. It confuses their ego, shifts the power. Say it with me now. My silence is strength. No more breadcrumbs. No more half-doors. You're not the same man they left. And now, they feel it in every quiet second. They only feel the loss when comparison begins. Not because you said anything, but because your evolution speaks for itself. Don't explain your philosophy. Embody it. Epictetus. They thought they replaced you, till they saw who you became without them. You don't need to compete. You don't need to be louder. You need to become undeniable. When they see the new version of you, silent and solid, that's when the regret begins. You were once accessible, always there. Now, you're not just gone, you've grown. You've become a man so aligned with his purpose that even they no longer recognize you. Comparison is the mirror they never wanted to face. The new person they're with doesn't laugh like you did, doesn't bring the calm you carried, doesn't protect them from chaos the way you once did. And when the memories hit, it stings. Not because you're better, but because they can't deny it. You become what you give your attention to. It's Marcus Aurelius. But here's the truth. This only works if you've truly changed. You're still the man they left. The mirror only reflects why they walked. But if you've leveled up quietly, intentionally, consistently, then they see something else. Someone rare. Someone rising. Someone they can't reach. Say this now. I outgrow the old me. You're not doing this to be seen. You're doing it to become. Now. Even their pride can't ignore the reflection staring back. The true power isn't in making them come back. just knowing you no longer need them to. Freedom is the only worthy goal in life. It is won by disregarding things that lie beyond our control. Epictetus, they often come back, not with an apology, not with understanding, but with curiosity, trying to see if the door is still open. But this time, you're different. You've stopped waiting. You've stopped breaking. You've stopped shrinking to fit an old version of yourself that no longer exists. They left expecting to return to a man still stuck in that same place, still reaching, still hoping. Instead, they find someone calm, composed, untouchable. Now they feel the weight of silence, the space you no longer leave for them. You've built a new life, not a temporary upgrade, but a solid foundation. Not to impress them, but to respect yourself. You may leave this life at any moment, have this possibility in your mind, in all that you do or say or think. Marcus Aurelius, when they come back, it's not about revenge. It's not about validation. It's about choice. You get to decide if they belong in your new chapter, or if that chapter ended long ago. Say it now. I decide who stays. That. Right there is the real win. Not that they returned, but that you don't need them anymore. They expected you to fall apart, but instead, you built. Dwell on the beauty of life. Watch the stars, and see yourself running with them. Marcus Aurelius, you stopped chasing. You stopped needing to be seen, while they clung to comfort. In noise, you found clarity in silence. This isn't about proving them wrong. It's about proving to yourself that you never needed them to begin with. What you needed was direction, discipline, peace. They hear your name now and pause. Because you're loud.
Albert.
But because your silence created gravity. They feel what they lost without ever having to say it out loud. You've stopped playing their game. No cryptic messages. No staged photos. Just quiet growth. Just self-respect. You're not trying to impress. You're becoming. Freedom is the open space where our will can operate. Epictetus, and now you walk differently. Not with arrogance, but with awareness. You've stopped orbiting their opinion. You've started aligning with your mission. Let them talk. Let them scroll. Let them wonder what changed. They won't recognize this version of you because this version doesn't need them anymore. Say this: I walk forward. I don't look back. Let the old story close. You are the author now. They don't miss the noise. They miss the calm you brought into chaos. They miss the way your silence made them feel something real. To live a good life, we have the potential for it, if we learn to be indifferent to what makes no difference. Marcus Aurelius, you don't post quotes to get their attention. You don't send songs at 2 a.m. hoping they notice. You simply stop showing up. And in that stillness, they feel it not through words, but through the absence that now lingers. They used to feel secure knowing you were just a message away, that even if they moved on, your emotional presence would stay. But you pulled it back, quietly, completely. Now they're in rooms that feel colder, with people who don't carry your calm. They smile for photos, but overthink in silence. And in that quiet moment, your absence echoes. You must understand that the world is what it is, not what you wish it to be. Accept it, and you will find peace. Epictetus' silence doesn't mean you've given up. It means you've grown past the need to be heard by those who no longer listen. Longer feed what starves you. You don't water connections that no longer nourish you. And that's where your power returns. Say it now: my silence creates space for peace. They may never say it out loud, but they feel it. Every time they check and find nothing. Every time your name comes up and they realize they lost something rare. They're not haunted by what you said. They're haunted by what you became in silence. We suffer more often in imagination than in reality. Seneca, you were once the first message. Steady presence, the quiet anchor, and now you've vanished. Not out of spite, out of clarity. You're no longer reacting, no longer checking. No longer feeding a connection that stopped feeding you. That's not cold, that's wisdom. Your silence forces them to face what they never expected, a life without your energy. And now, the smallest reminders sting the most. They scroll. They pause. They remember. But you're not posting to be remembered. You're not showing off. You're just living. Fully, boldly, quietly. Be tolerant with others and strict with yourself. Marcus Aurelius, they might not admit it, but they feel the void. Not because you begged, but because you didn't. Not because you posted, but because you stopped. You've detached, not out of apathy, but out of self-respect. That's what they can't forget. Say this now. My peace is louder than my pain. No more explaining. No more hoping they understand. No, you've already said everything you needed to in silence. They won't say it, but when your name comes up, they freeze. Because the man you became, they never expected him. If a man knows not to which port he sails, no wind is favorable. Seneca, you used to be the one reaching. Oh, you're the one they can't reach. It's not because you disappeared. It's because you evolved beyond recognition. You built in silence, no announcements, no noise. And now, you're not trying to prove anything. You've become something they can't deny, not even to themselves. They scroll past your photo. They hear your name in passing. And in that second, they feel it. The shift, the comparison, the quiet ache of regret. You didn't win by being louder. You won by being better, privately. When someone is properly grounded in life, they shouldn't have to look outside themselves for approval. Kitasuv, stopped shrinking to be loved. You've stopped explaining your worth. And because of that, they now wonder what it would feel like to know the man you've become. But that version isn't for them anymore. That version is for the mission, for peace, for the future. Say it now. I no longer fit the past. Let them watch. Let them wonder. You didn't become better to make them look back. You became better so you never have to. They thought your worth depended on their presence. Now they can't stop comparing their reality to the man you've become. The tranquility that comes when you stop caring what they say, or think, or do, only what you do. Marcus Aurelius, they expected you to stall, to stay stuck in the version they left behind. But you didn't pause, you progressed. Now they lie next to someone else, but they're not at peace, because peace left when you did. And every reminder of you, a name, a memory, a moment, stirs something they thought was gone. Not because you reached out, but because your silence speaks through every room you no longer enter. You've become the standard they secretly measure others against. And no, it's not about revenge. You didn't build yourself for them. You built because you had to, because staying small was no longer an option. You were born to stand proud, not to grovel at someone else's feet. Epictetus, they wonder if you still care, if you still feel. But the truth is, you've already let go. And now they're the ones chasing a version of you that no longer exists. Say this now. I don't seek comparison. I become it. Let them wrestle with the mirror. But you're not in competition. You're in command. The final power isn't in their return. It's in your ability to choose and walk away if needed. No person is free who is not master of himself. Epictetus, when they come back, it's not always out of love. Sometimes it's confusion. Sometimes it's curiosity. Sometimes it's regret. But your role has changed. You're not waiting anymore. You're not hoping for a second chance. You are deciding. They expected the door to stay open, but you've built a new home, one where self-worth is the foundation, and their old access key no longer fits. You don't bend for someone who broke you. You don't shrink to make space for the past. You've grown, and now they either rise to meet you or they stay behind. Just keep in mind, the more we value things outside our control, the less control we have. Marcus Aurelius, they once left you in pieces. But those same pieces became the bricks you used to rebuild. Let them return if they must. But never forget, they're returning to a version of you that no longer waits, no longer needs, no longer doubts. Say this now. I choose who stays. You're not proving anything to them anymore. You're proving to yourself that your peace is not up for compromise. They thought the silence meant it was over. But really, it was just the beginning of your rise. To love only what happens, what was destined. No greater harmony. Marcus Aurelius, they left you expecting you to break. But in that silence, you built something unshakable. It's not to be seen, but to be solid. Not for them, for you. You stopped posting for attention. You stopped explaining your growth. Because growth doesn't need applause. It only needs purpose. Now your absence echoes louder than your presence ever did. They remember the comfort you gave, the peace, the protection. And no one they meet matches it, because you were never basic, you were rare. And rare becomes priceless the moment it disappears. Nothing is worth doing pointlessly. Seneca, don't chase closure. Don't demand recognition. Just keep building. Quietly, consistently. Let your evolution be the message. Say it now. I don't chase. Create. The silence they once misunderstood. It's now the most powerful thing they feel. Because what you're becoming, they'll never touch again.